As the blackened clouds maintained their position over southeast Queensland and the rain set in, farm manager Eddie Sloan knew he was in for the second biggest fight of his life when he found himself stranded on his property just 30 kilometres from Dalby. In his story, Eddie candidly talks about his flood experience, his emotional struggles, and how that devastating wet season has affected those closest to him. His ongoing battle to keep on top of his depression was severely tested in January, and thankfully he survived to share his story.
The flood itself, probably in our area, lasted a few weeks. It was very difficult from a farmer's point of view, being in charge of 4,000 head of stock and having no feed and no water for them, very little for myself and that sort of thing, but able to get through that. I had no contact with the outside world, the electricity was off, I couldn't charge my mobile, Telstra wouldn't let me hook on the landline phone and a few things like that, so I was stuck there for the whole week by myself. That brought up a lot of old feelings, emotions that I sort of hadn't dealt with or hadn't experienced for a couple of years, been mainly some depression symptoms and that sort of thing. But I was able to work through them as I've been trained, or it's had good therapy, I suppose, over a period of time leading up to that. What I experienced, several years before, I suppose, in a way of illness with depression, I was a bit worried that maybe things were going to go south again. They started to, but I was able to head them off, I suppose, with good coping strategies, skills and all that sort of stuff. Obviously talking to someone would have helped. I just talked to the pigs. I think it would have gone very badly. I think if I hadn't had some intense counselling therapy within those last 18 months before that, I think it would have gone very badly, as like I said back in my presentation, that 3 years prior to that I was housebound, and I was a bit worried that was happening again to me, but there's, it's similar but different sort of experience. But at the end of the week, would you believe that my mother in Western Australia was watching Queensland on the news and saw a helpline number, which she rang and managed to get a helicopter to land on the property with one of our stockmen, a lot of food and some supplies for the piggery. But that was very much a relief. I didn't know that was coming, it just turned up out of the sky, it was great. And that was also strange because I was watching helicopters all the time go across and they were ferrying people out of the flood. This time they ferried one in with a heap of food and stuff, so that was pretty special actually, yeah. It was pretty good. Every time it rains you've got to think, well, is it going to happen again? And I think that's a problem through what I've seen throughout southeast Queensland, is people experiencing the same thing. Even sometimes just a shower of rain is enough to upset some people. I don't know if you ever get used to a natural disaster like that. I mean, it just happens, you just have to deal with it the best way you can. Their house went under 3 times and they got evacuated 3 times. They're both in their mid-60s, so that was very traumatic on them. And they're still, you can see them, like I say about myself, being worried about the rain. It's not too bad, but I can see it in both my parents-in-law that there's a problem there.